We're getting ready to start Lesson 9. So have that paper ready to go for Lesson 9. We're going to start things out just a little bit different today. We are going to start with a word problem. So the word problem says, Richard's sunflower is 9 centimeters shorter than Oscar's. Richard's sunflower is 75 centimeters tall. How tall is Oscar's sunflower? So we're thinking about what we're being asked to do, and we are going to be using cubes to help us solve this problem, along with read, draw, and write. So Richard's sunflower is 9 centimeters. I'm circling the numbers and boxing the keyword. Shorter would be an important keyword here. Richard's sunflower is 9 centimeters shorter than Oscar's. Richard's sunflower is 75 centimeters tall. How tall is Oscar's sunflower? All right, so what I'd like you to do is I'm going to ask you to shut the video off. I would like you to try and solve this problem, and I am going to tell you that I am going to need to have you use a bar model. Let's see. We're going to use a bar model. Say, I put in a couple of things here to help you out a little bit. So you are going to do a bar model, which is like a number bond. You're trying to find out how tall Oscar's sunflower is, and I also need you to write a sentence answering the question. All right, so not only you need to finish the bar model, and I need to see some equations on how you solve this problem, and then I need you to write a sentence answering the question. How tall is Oscar's sunflower? You might say something like, Oscar's sunflower is, and then you will, oops, I didn't quite get that all in there. I need to push that up just a little bit. Oscar's sunflower is, and you'll need to tell me how tall Oscar's sunflower is. So pause the video, work this problem, and then come back and see how you did on it. Okay, pause the video. Okay, are you back? All righty, so let's see how you did on this problem. So we know that Richard's sunflower is 9 centimeters shorter than Oscar's. Okay, do we know how tall Richard's sunflower? Richard's sunflower is 75 centimeters. 75 centimeters. So we need to try to figure out, this is 9 centimeters. So we know that Richard's sunflower is 75 centimeters. That's his sunflower. We know that it is 9 centimeters shorter than Oscar's. So if I want to find out how tall Oscar's is, I need to set up an equation of 75 plus 9 equals, that should tell me how tall Oscar's is. So when I look at this, I'm going to break 9 into 5 and 4, and the reason being, if I can do an easy addition with 75 plus 5 equals 80, then it's really easy for me to finish up what I haven't used with 80 plus 4 equals 84. So I know that Oscar's sunflower is 84 centimeters. So if I'm going to write a sentence, I would say Oscar's sunflower is 84 centimeters tall. All right, how did you do on that? We second graders should be able to solve basic word problems using a bar model, equations, and writing a sentence to answer the question. Hopefully that was not too hard for you. All right, so you are going to need to have your problem set 9, and we're going to start looking at doing some estimates today. We're going to complete the chart by first estimating around a classmate's body part and then filling in the actual measurement with a meter strip. Well, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to help you out just a little bit with this. I'm going to give you some measurements that I would like you to write down. We're going to be measuring for Sam, We're going to measure for Jill, and we're going to measure for Ted. Since you don't have anyone there to help you, this will be helpful in helping you to solve this first page. So an estimated measurement for Sam's neck would be about 15 centimeters. For Jill's wrist would be 10 centimeters. And for Ted's head would be 45 centimeters. All right. Now, if I was going to give you an actual measure for Sam's head, it would be about 30 centimeters. So this is the actual measure. This is the estimated measure. So we have an estimated measure. This is just taking a good guess. This is the actual measure. And let's take a look at Jill. The estimated measure was 10 centimeters for her wrist and 16 centimeters for the actual measurement of her wrist. Ted's head, we estimated about 45. The actual measurement was 56 centimeters. So I'm going to ask you to shut the video off for just a minute and get your chart filled out so that you can solve these next two problems. All right? So fill out the chart, shut the video off, get all the information that you need so you can solve these next two problems. Okay, are you back? All right, so let's take a look at what we've got. Which is longer? Okay. Is it your estimate or the actual measurement around your classmate's head? So we're looking here at Ted, because we measured his head. Which is longer, the estimate or the actual measurement? So what do you think? The estimated estimate or the actual estimate? Take a minute, write down an answer, and then come back and check and see how you did. Are you back? If you said the actual measurement is longer, you are absolutely correct. The actual measurement, the actual one, is longer. How do I know that? Well, because 45 is shorter than 56. 56 is a longer measurement than 45. Now, you are going to draw a tape diagram. That just means a bar model. You're going to draw a tape diagram to show, here we go, to show comparing these two measurements. All right, so you're going to give me a tape, draw a tape diagram to compare the lengths of two different body parts. Okay, so I am going to measure Sam's, hang on just a second. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So the two body parts that I would like you to compare are Sam's neck and Jill's wrist. So I want you to compare these two body parts. So this one is going to be Sam. What do you know about Sam? And this one is going to be Jill. All right, so you are going to compare the actual measurement for Sam's neck, which you're going to have to look up here to see what that was, and what the actual measurement was for Jill's wrist. And then you're going to need to find out and compare what the difference is between those two. So shut the video off and solve this problem, and then I'll see you back in just a second. All right, are you back? So Sam's head or neck was about 30 centimeters. That gets that part, so I've got to make this part equal that. And Jill's wrist was 16 centimeters. So what we're trying to figure out is what is the difference between those two. So did you start off with, I know that if I take 30, take away 16, will it give me this part of my number bond? Yep, it absolutely will. So I'm going to start with 30, take away 16 equals 14. How did I get that? Well, I broke this apart into 10 and 20. I broke that apart into 10 and 20. 20 take away 16 equaled 4. Then I'm going to add 10 plus 4 equals 14. So the difference between Sam's neck and Jill's wrist would be, I'm going to erase this because I'm going to now fill this in, would be 14 centimeters. There you go. How did you do on that? If you did a good job, give yourself a big smiley face. All right, so you've turned the page over and you're supposed to use a string to measure all three paths. So you have path 1 that's kind of a squiggly line, path 2 that is an angled line, and path 3 which is a curved line. Now, you probably don't have a piece of string at your house, but I've gone and done this for you. I took my string and I used it to measure about how many centimeters each one of these were. So about, you can just write this down because you don't have that piece of string with you. This one is about 15 centimeters. My jagged line is about 14 centimeters. And my curved line is about 13 centimeters. I just saved you the trouble of having to measure those. So we're just making an estimate. Notice that I'm using the word about. So 15 centimeters for path 1, 14 centimeters for path 2, and about 13 centimeters for path 3. So your question is which is the longest path, which is the shortest path, and draw a tape diagram. Here we go. Here's our tape diagram to compare the two lengths. Here's my tape diagram, and I am going to be comparing these two lengths. So this one is path 2, and this one is path 3. Okay, so you're going to use path 2 for this one and path 3 for this one, and you're going to answer these 3 questions. Oops, there we go. So shut the video off, take a moment, and figure that out. Are you back? Well, this one should have been pretty easy. Which was the longest path? I hope you said that it was path number 1. Did you? And which one was the shortest? I hope you said path number 3. Now we're going to compare path 2 and path 3. How long was path 2? Path 2 was 14 centimeters, and path 3 was 13 centimeters. Can you figure out how much longer path 2 is than path 3? Let's see if we can figure that out. All right, so I know that path 2 was 14 centimeters, and path 3 was 13 centimeters. 14 centimeters, as I write an equation, take away 13 centimeters, gives me how many centimeters? I hope you said 1. So if I put 1 in my bar model or my number bond, do I have that work out right? Because 13 plus 1 would be 14. 14 take away 13 would be 1. 14 take away 1 would be 13. So a sentence would be path 2 is 1 centimeter longer than path 3. Always remember that you need to write a sentence that answers the question. Path 2, which was 14 centimeters, is about 1 centimeter longer than path 3. Alrighty, let's turn over the page and see what we're going to be up to next. It looks like we've got another estimate here. And again, you should have been using your string, which you probably don't have, but I will help you out with that. So we are going to estimate. We're going to say that this string is about, let's say that it's about 17 centimeters, this string. If I was going to estimate, it's about 17 centimeters. Okay, so this path is about 17 centimeters. That's the first piece of information you're going to need. Then you're supposed to use the string and measure the path, and then measure it with your meter strip, which you probably may or may not have. But I'm going to tell you that the actual measurement is 22 centimeters. you're going to need these two measures to compare using a tape diagram. Okay, a tape diagram is a bar model. Draw a tape diagram to compare your estimate to the actual length. So I've given you an estimate of about 17 centimeters. This is our estimate. And the actual length of your this string was 22. So the actual length was 22. Can you make yourself a bar model to figure that out? So the actual length, this is the actual. I'm just going to help you get it set up. Here is your estimate. This one is your estimate. And your estimate was not quite as long. Can you figure out what the difference is, or how we're going to compare and figure out what the difference is between the actual measurement and the estimated measurement? Okay, pause the video. Oops, I need to push that up. I'm so sorry. Push that up. Here we go. Oops, I'm going to do this the other direction. This actually needs to be going like this. Nope, I still have that the wrong way. It's going to go like this, because this one is an upside downy. Here's the actual measurement. Here's the estimate. Can you fill that in? Okay, pause the video and see what it is that you're going to be doing. All right? All right, so your actual measurement was 22 centimeters. You knew that from up here. Your estimated was 17 centimeters. You knew that from up here. So now I have to figure out what's missing. What would I have to add to 17 centimeters to get 22? Well, I know that if I take 22 centimeters and take away 17 centimeters, that would give me, well, let's find out. I'm going to break this apart into 2 and 20. So 20 take away 17. That should be very easy. 20 take away 17 is going to give me 3, but I still am going to have to take care of the 2 that I have there. 2 plus 3 equals 5. So I know that the difference between these two is 5 centimeters. This would be the difference between the two. The difference is about 5 well, isn't about, it is 5 centimeters. How did you do on that? If you did well, give yourself a smiley face. Let's move on to the next page. Let's take a look and see what we're going to be doing here. So this time they've given us a chart. So they have said that Maya completed the chart by first estimating the measurement around 3 objects in her house and then finding the actual measurement with her meter strip. So here's the objects that she measured. She measured an orange, a mini basketball, and the bottom of a glue bottle. Here are her estimated measurements. She estimated about 40 centimeters, about 30 centimeters, and about 10 centimeters. When she actually measured, she found out the actual measurement was 36 centimeters, 41 centimeters, and 8 centimeters. We're going to be looking for the difference. We're looking for the difference between the longest and the shortest measurements. Okay? We're looking for the difference between the longest and the shortest measurements. Okay, if you would please, you're going to pause your video, try to solve this problem, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at this. Okay, so let's take a look and see how you did. We're going to look for the difference between the longest and the shortest. Well, our longest actual measure was 41 centimeters, and our shortest one was 8 centimeters. If we're going to find the difference, hopefully you subtracted. So 41 take away 8. Well, let's see. I'm going to break 41 apart into 40 and 1. That makes that very easy. And 40 take away 8 gives me, oh yeah, 40 take away 8 gives me 32, and 32 plus 1 gives me 33. So if you came up with 33 centimeters, congratulations, very well done. Now you're going to draw a tape diagram, which is nothing more than a number bond. I need to compare the measurements of the orange and the bottom of the glue bottle. So I've set this up so that you know that the glue bottle is going to be here, the orange is going to be here, and you need to figure out what is the difference between the two. We're going to be comparing to find the difference between the bottom of the glue bottle and the orange. All right, pause the video, and there we go. I'm going to pause the video. Are you back? So the actual measure of the bottom of the glue bottle was 8 centimeters, and the bottom of the orange was 36 centimeters. Did you get those in place? So now what I have to figure out is what is the difference between those two. I'm looking for the difference between the orange and this. So if I set up a problem, I would want to take 36, take away 8 would equal, I'm going to break 36 apart into 30 and 6, 30 and 6, and then I'm going to say, well, it's easy to take 30, take away 8 equals, well, let's see, that would give me 22. So 22, then I'm going to take my 22 and add that to the 6 that I have left over, which gives me 28. Wait a minute, that's not right. Hang on. Actually, I did have that right, except for one little boo-boo here. I should have made the difference of the bigger box, and I didn't do that. So I've got 8 centimeters, and the difference between 36 and 8 would be 28 centimeters. And there you go. I just didn't have my bar model set up quite right. So if you got 28, you are doing a fantastic job. We are going to skip letter C. I know you're so excited that you actually get to skip something. All right, let's move on to the homework page. So I'm going to help you out with these two. Well, actually, I'm not going to help you out with all of it. I want you to measure. You're going to measure. You measure with your centimeter ruler this one, and I will tell you that this squiggly one is about 11 centimeters. So you need to figure out doing, you're going to do A, B, C, and D with the information that I have given you. And then when you come back, we will work and see how you did on problem number 2 on the homework page. Are you ready? Okay, pause the video. Okay, are you back? So did you measure line A? And did you get about 9 centimeters? Well, I did too. So this one is about 9 centimeters. So how path A is 9 centimeters. And I told you that squiggle line here was 11 centimeters. So that one made that easy for you. So I need to know together, there's my important key word, together path A and path B measure how many centimeters? Well, 9 centimeters plus 11 centimeters gives me 20 centimeters. So if you said 20 centimeters, congratulations. And path A is how much shorter than path B? So I need to think about path A is how much shorter than path B. If you said 11 centimeters take away 9 centimeters gives you 2 centimeters, you would be exactly correct. Path A is 2 centimeters shorter than path B. Path A is 2 centimeters shorter than path B. All right, let's take a look at number 3. All right, let's take a look at our word problem. Sean and Stephen have a contest to see who could jump farther. Sean jumped 75 centimeters and Stephen jumped 9 more centimeters than Sean. Okay, so we are trying to find out how far did Stephen jump? Well, I want you to shut the video off and I want you to answer these 3 questions. How far did Stephen jump? Based on what you know about what we've circled here. And I want to know who won the contest. And I want you to draw a tape diagram so that you can compare the 2 jumps. All right, that's your job. Do it now. All right, so, let's take a look at what you did on these problems. So, we're figuring out how far did Stephen jump. Well, Sean jumped 75 centimeters, yes? And Stephen jumped 9 more centimeters than Sean. So if I add 75 and 9, I am going to get 75 and 9 gives me 84. If you came up with 84 centimeters, congratulations on how well you did. Who won the jumping contest? Well, Stephen went 84. Now, you should have done a tape diagram to compare the 2 lengths. So, I know that Sean had how many centimeters? He had 75 centimeters. And Stephen, he had 84 centimeters. So if I have 75 and 9 would give me 84, which makes my diagram absolutely perfect. And I know that 84 centimeters is 9 centimeters longer than 75 centimeters. There you go. So that's what you should have done for our tape diagram or our number bond to compare the 2 jumps. Okay, how did you do? Did you have a good experience with that? I hope that you did. And now let's take a look at our exit ticket. You need to make sure that you send this to your teacher. Send to, oh my gosh, look at that, Miss Star. You can't even write the word to. Send to your teacher. You are going to send that to your teacher. Be certain that you put your name on it so your teacher knows that it's coming from you, and whatever date that you do this on. So a couple of things that I'm going to help you with. Use your string. Remember that string we were supposed to be using? Well, I'm going to help you with this. So use your string to measure the 2 paths. I'm going to tell you that path M is about 15 centimeters. Path M is about 15 centimeters. Your job is to measure this one. You have to measure that one by yourself. So path M, well, you know what that one is, and you have to figure out what path N is. Then you're going to use this information to answer these 3 questions. Mandy measured the paths and said both paths are the same length. Is Mandy correct? You have to decide yes she is or no she's not. And then you're going to have to explain in words why she's correct or why she's not correct. Then on number 3, you need to use a tape diagram to compare the 2 lengths. So that's what you need to do for your exit ticket for today. And make sure that you send that to your teacher. I'm still sad that I have quite a few people who don't think they need to send me their exit ticket. And so I don't even know what you're doing because I never see your work. So this is an important part of what you're doing for math. And we'll see you tomorrow.